Hello, Dijon here. In the comics portion of episode 135 of the Mustercast, we go over what books we've been reading lately, discuss Dijon's discovery of the League of Comic Geeks, and review the final two issues of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Please enjoy. So, moving on to the comic book section, Bree, why don't you start us off with what you've been reading lately?
I haven't read any comics, but I started reading the summer Hakuryu died,
Mm.
and I didn't think it would be as crazy as I thought it was because I was put onto this some years ago when it was just straight up just the manga, no anime or anything. But I never sat down to actually read a synopsis or anything because I already had finished a comic that made me very emotional, and I didn't want to read another one that would make me very emotional because I thought it was going to be like a tearjerker.
Mm.
I mean, it kind of is, but it's not. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I take so long to actually read this? So I've been low key binging it.
Mm.
What's it about?
It's really good. I don't. How do I explain this without spoiling? But essentially, this dude's friend, they're high school friends, and his friend goes missing, and one day just shows up again, but he's acting different, and he's like, "Are you sure you're the same guy I grew up being friends with?" And the dude's like, "Oh dang, I thought my disguise really worked." So essentially, it's like that.
You gotta explain more than that. What do you mean?
But do you care about spoilers?
No. It sounds like this is core to the story.
I mean, yeah, that's basically how it starts. Friend goes missing, friend shows up, but friend isn't acting the same as he used to. And it turns out friend is dead. But what is possessing his body, we don't know.
Mm.
So Skinwalker story.
But there's also yaoi.
Yeah, basically. That's exactly it.
It's a yaoi where a kid dies and his body is taken over by an eldritch horror.
Our Skinwalker. Yeah, basically, actually.
Okay.
Right on the head. Also, I'm still reading that manga about the girl who's faking amnesia to break up with her husband.
Mm.
I mean, divorce her husband. And it is low-key still really good. I thought I'd hate it, but no. Listen to Instagram, y'all. They got some bangers out there.
Cool. What about you, Aiara?
Let's see. I picked Chainsaw Man back up again because of the movie. I'm starting again from the very beginning at volume 1, just because it's been a while since I've read through the main story. And every time Makima is, I guess, on page, it makes me want to throw up. I hate her so bad. So that's been interesting. I've also been rereading a manhwa I started a long time ago called Under the Oak Tree. That I didn't finish it, but I really want to now that it's over. So I've been rereading that to kind of catch up. The premise of that is there's this girl who's scorned by her family because she has a stutter and is generally not very desirable for marriage in air quotes, and so she gets sent off with this lower class guy. He's not necessarily lower class in the way of he's a peasant, but he's not very rich, not very known. He's a lesser lord. And so she gets married off to him and sent off to his homeland. And then a war breaks out right after they're wed. And it kind of drifts them apart because he gets sent off to the war. And when he comes back, he comes back a war hero. He really did a really good job, got all this land, all this stuff, and has increased in status so much. And the girl is worried that he's not going to love her anymore because she thinks of herself as worthless because of her raising. And the whole story is just him being like, I love you so much, I would do anything for you. And her being like, but I'm not good enough for you and you deserve better. And it's very sappy. I eat it up like candy though. I fear. And the relationship is really cute because there's the simp character in many a manhwa, but it's he's a simp, but he's not like weird and pushy about it.
Mm.
Yeah, which is really refreshing to see. I like Rifton. He's great. So I've been reading that, and that's been just as good as I remember. It's been so long since I've even thought about it, so it's strange to come back to it, but I kind of missed it a lot. So that's been fun. And then what else have I been reading? Still, I picked Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow back up again after taking kind of a break from it. And I'm enjoying it a little bit more. It's been slow going though, because I haven't really had the time to like sit and like read and comprehend like an actual book. But that's been nice. And
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
So good.
It is.
So
It is.
good.
It's starting to grow on me a lot more. I wasn't really feeling it at first, but then I really like. There was a chapter that really made everything click, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm seeing the story wrong, and that was really helpful, and it really aided my enjoyment. So I'm starting to like it a lot more.
Yeah.
I'm excited to finish it.
For those that don't know, Tomorrow is a novel about these two people that make a video game together. And there's some romantic chemistry. There's a lot of friendship. It's a really good book. It's a great book. I love it. It just pulled me in. I heard somebody talking about it on a podcast I listened to, and then I looked it up, and it said that it was about video game design and like romance and friendship. And I was like, that sounds cool. And I read it, and I was like, oh, this book is awesome. This book was made for me. Yeah, definitely highly recommend it. But
yeah, that's all I got.
Okay. For me, in terms of manga, I still reading Kagurabachi. That's still going strong. So good. I can't wait till it gets animated eventually. It's awesome. What else? Also reading Chainsaw Man. I think I'm caught up. Maybe a new chapter came out. I haven't read that one yet. I'm caught up on Chojin X, which feels like it's getting close to an end, but I'm not sure. But it feels like it's close to wrapping up. One Punch Man. I didn't read the latest issues because the One Punch Man is so weird when it comes to updating. It will they will post several chapters, and you can only read the latest 3 chapters on Shonen Jump, and goddamn Murata will just post like 5, and I'm like, bruh, what's going on? So I'm gonna catch up on One Punch Man whenever I decide I'm gonna catch up on One Piece, because I'm gonna have to subscribe to read it, which will probably be sometime soon. But in terms of comics, I went through my pile of physical comics I had. What was the last one I read? Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion, which is about Miles Morales from the main universe going to the Ultimate Universe, which Miles Morales originates from the Ultimate Universe and made his way to the main universe, and now it's happening vice versa, which is really fun. There's, what else did I read? Battle Beast issues, I think was it 5 and 6, which I decided to stop collecting that physically, or not stop collecting it physically, but to start collecting it issue by issue instead. That might change, because the Ultimate Universe is ending. So if this isn't a publicity stunt, that means I will literally have no more comics that I will be getting, because the Ultimate Comics were the comics that I was collecting all physically. And since it's ending, I'm kind of upset that I wasn't collecting all of them from the beginning, because that way I would have eventually just been able to stop. Because I wasn't collecting all of them because I ain't got money for that. But if I knew that it was going to end at issue 24 for all of these comics except for Wolverine, which is ending at 16, I would have just been collecting all of them from the beginning. I already regret having not collected X-Men, because I love X-Men. It's probably my second favorite of the bunch. And for some reason, I wasn't sure if I would like it, so I didn't get it physically. And now I'm way too far behind to start collecting it physically now. So it's like, damn, I wish I was collecting that physically from the beginning. So yeah, I might actually end up continuing to collect Battle Beast physically, because I won't have anything else. And I'll probably just start throwing some other comics in there to replace those. In terms of, also found out that I was like 5 chapters behind on Daredevil, because the Marvel app wasn't alerting me of new chapters. And I was like, damn, where's the new Daredevil chapter? So I looked it up and I was like, oh, I've missed several, because they just haven't been letting me know that they're coming out. So yeah, I'm behind on Daredevil, but I'm catching up. And also read the latest Ultimate X-Men issue. But in terms of DC Comics, I finally read the current Batman run, which we talked about a couple episodes ago. Art by George Jimenez. We talked about how awesome his art is. I read it. His art is awesome. It's being written by Matt Fraction, who wrote an incredible Hawkeye run. So a lot of people are excited for this comic, and it's pretty good so far. First time I'm reading the mainline Batman comic in legitimately probably 10 years. Like,
oh wow,
I haven't read mainline Batman in a very long time. Absolute Batman number 11. I read Action Comics number 1090. Batman and Robin year 1 number 11. Absolute Flash number 7. Nightwing issues 125, 26, and 27, because I'm trying to catch up on Nightwing. Justice League Red number 2. I finally read DCKO, the first issue. I read Supergirl number 5. Mr. Terrific year 1 number 5. Superman number 30. Not Green Lantern. It is Green Lantern. Green Lantern Dark number 6. Not the main line, but Elseworlds Green Lantern story. That's really fun. About a world where essentially it was like nuked by darkness. And this Elseworlds version of the Green Lantern is kind of like very sad and depressed because their world was destroyed and aren't really being a superhero. And this like little kid is trying to like give them back their willpower to get them to actually help save the world. Also read The Flash number 25, which is the end of Cy Spurrier's run on The Flash, which was pretty good. He did some real weird shit, but it was fun. And now it's ending. This was the very last issue of his run. And then Mark Waid, who is very famous for having arguably the best Flash run of all time, which I'm still in the middle of reading. I need to get back to eventually. Will be taking over for a bit before I think someone else does. I don't know who though. Green Arrow number 28, that's ending soon, unfortunately, because it got canceled. I don't know when. Probably 30 if I had to guess, but love this comic. Green Arrow is easily one of the best comics. It sucks that it's ending. Absolute Wonder Woman, which I'm excited to get to eventually. Number 12. So good. Finally read Immortal Legend Batman number 1, which is written by Kyle Higgins, who's the writer for Radiant Black, which is this kind of Power Rangers meets Invincible comic, but not nearly as violent, more so in terms of kind of tone and characterization. But he's writing this Power Rangers inspired Batman comic, drawn by Dan Mora, who's considered like, he's like DC's main artist. He draws so much that people are making jokes about this man being trapped in DC's basement. If you just look up Dan Mora's art, you'll probably recognize. You will probably have seen it somewhere before. He's everywhere. His art's incredible. He's real good, and he drew a lot of Power Rangers comics, so they got him on this book too. And last but certainly not least, Batman or Robin and Batman Jason Todd number 3, which is the final issue of this little mini story about Jason Todd when he was Robin, and it was really good. But yeah, that's all I got from my pull list of comics. But yeah, you guys check out Dan Moore's art. It's a good art.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Is it more with duos?
I
Or?
actually followed him on Instagram because I saw his art.
Yeah. Any character that exists, the way he draws them is the best those characters ever look. Every single time.
Yeah.
His art's awesome. Yeah, moving on to a bit of news, just a tiny bit of news. So I talked to Aiara about this a bit after we recorded last, but I downloaded an app that I heard a lot about within the comic book community online, but I somehow avoided it until now. And it all happened because I saw a Twitter post about how easy it is to read 1,000 comic books, and how when like in the long run that's not that much if you read comics semi-regularly. And in the comments, a bunch of people were posting screenshots from the same app and website that showed how many comics they've read. And I was like, where are you guys getting these numbers from? And they said League of Comic Geeks. And so I was like, okay, I did my research. Like, okay, is this a scam? It wasn't. I do that with every new app. I'm like, let me read the reviews. Let me check the Google store. But yeah, so I made an account. I downloaded that, made an account, and it has just been fun, like logging all my comics that I've read, and like just getting those numbers to pit towards the comics you've been reading. When I talked to you, I was at like 960. I'm now over 2,000.
Oh yeah, because you added One Piece and
Yeah, I had One
Naruto,
Piece.
right?
I had it One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, Chainsaw Man. Because at the time when I had talked to Aiara about it, I hadn't checked if they also had manga. I only did American comics. I was like, the moment I had some manga, that number's gonna goddamn skyrocket, and it did. So yeah, I added Naruto and One Piece and Bleach, and it went way up. um, and yeah, it's now I'm at over 2,000, with like 1,000 of them being specifically manga. And I definitely suggest making an account. You can also, it's basically, Aiera said it, it's basically like Letterboxd, but for comics. Whereas Letterboxd is for movies. But it's also, it's like a combination of Letterboxd and Reddit. So there's like a bunch of
Mhm.
communities and like, message threads and stuff like that that you can hop into. But also another really cool thing that it does is it helps you keep track of when comic books are releasing. And also
Ooh.
like details like variant covers. So like it's awesome. And I was like, how have I not had this app? This is crazy. Like you can add comics to it by just taking a picture of the or like scanning the cover with your camera, and it'll be like, oh, this is that comic and this very specific variant cover. And I did that for a few of my comics. And I was like, wow, that's cool. This app is really cool. Yeah, I'm at
And what is it called?
2,415. Uh League of Comic Geeks.
Mm. Okay.
But yeah, check out the app or the website. It's pretty cool. And it's a great place to just log everything you're reading and keep up with things. And you guys were talking about how to keep up with comics. This is a good way. You might just see somebody give a review or something. You go, oh, that sounds interesting, and check it out. Because yeah, you can leave reviews. I'm starting to leave reviews of comics that I read whenever I read them. Yeah, it's been fun. But yeah, moving on to the book club. The final 2 issues of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, written by Tom King,
Yeah.
with pencils and inks by Billis Evely, colors by Matheus Lopez, letters by Clayton Cowles, cover by Evelyn Lopez, and edited by Brittany Hauser. Quick synopsis of issues 7 and 8. In issue number 7, it's the moment you've been waiting for, the capture of Krim. With the fugitive in custody, Supergirl must now deal with his allies, the ungodly brigands. To stop them once and for all, she must leave Ruthie behind with the man who killed her beloved father. Can she trust the young girl to let the villain of her story live long enough to stand trial? Or is this the tragic end of his story and ours? And in issue number 8, Krim's fate revealed. As Supergirl continues her battle against the brigands, Ruthie squares off against the most vile villain in hopes of avenging her father and completing their mission. Will justice be served on both accounts, or will our heroes fail? As usual, we're going to start with art. But like what more is there really to say, Billikis and Matheus Lopez continue to kill it. And in these last 2 issues, we go from a sandy beach with turquoise water and blue skies to the vacuum of space. And this really cool looking like space pirate ship that I sent a picture of in the chat that the brigands have. That's a really fun design. And toward the end of issue 8, we go back to Ruthie's home planet and see, its red sun setting overlooking the silhouettes of Kara and Ruthie. And that's one of my favorite pages from that final issue. And in going back to issue 7, there's also a beautiful image of a battle-worn Kara landing back on the planet that really stood out to me. That was just a gorgeous full page piece of art that was really good. But yeah, what do you guys think of the art in these 2 issues?
I thought that like the art this time around was really, really good, but I was way more impressed by the typesetting for some reason. Like I don't know what it was about these last 2 issues, but whoever was doing the letters for it locked in. Okay, the way
Clayton
that the
Cowles.
text played, yeah, the way the text played so nicely with like the paneling work and whatnot. It was just really good. There was one moment I didn't screenshot it, and I wish I would have, but it was when Ruthie was talking to Krim, and like his dialogue, like his very short, snippy dialogue, like kind of blended in with the white of the page, and I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know what frame you're talking about. That was also really nice.
Yeah.
The one that I like was Krim begging, for obvious reasons. But
Yes.
like, I don't know, to see him all just like wrinkly and
Decrepit.
How do I put this into, huh?
I said decrepit.
Yes, decrepit. Because he's like always drawn so majestically,
He was. He
despite being
really
such a
was.
horrible person.
They gave this
Like he
man
is so majestic looking, and I hate this man so much.
just beautiful. Everybody in this has beautiful eyes, including Krim.
Yes. Speaking of eyes, I did send a picture in the chat of like when she's about to strike down Kreb, and like you could see like the dead look in her eyes, like the unmoving, the numb face. Like I think that was perfectly illustrated because so much had happened that chapter.
Yeah,
Mm.
very very good chapter. But getting into the chapters themselves, and and some analysis for issue 7. Just a quick kind of deeper synopsis. Krim is captured, and Kara finally faces off against the brigands, which you would expect to be a cakewalk, and so does Ruthie as she narrates. But the brigands prepared for the battle accordingly, and brought cannonballs strong enough to push Supergirl back, and a small sliver of kryptonite, the irradiated remnants of Krypton, allowing them to restrain Supergirl. Meanwhile, on the planet, Ruthie talks to Comet and Krim as she attempts to hold back her thirst for revenge long enough to learn how to save Crypto. When Comet senses that Kara's in danger and hesitates to go in fear of Ruthie giving into that hatred, but is convinced by Ruthie to take off anyway. And in issue number 8, we pick up with Comet rocketing off to save Kara and smashing the kryptonite, but being injured in the process. Meanwhile, Ruthie prepares to kill Krim, but is convinced by him that it would be unsatisfying to kill a bound and unarmed man. So she unties him, places her sword between the both of them. Then they both race to the sword and battle to the death. What did you guys think of that moment right there? That fight between Krim and Ruthie.
It was beautiful. Like the fact that like Ruthie had acknowledged the fact that like I am small. I am much smaller than this grown ass man, and like he is like the fact that her travels with Supergirl had taught her so much to the point where it's like, yes, I am smaller than this man. Yes, I am only a girl. However, that is not what makes me weak, and I am not weak in that way. And like the way that like you can see the growth in her character with the way that she fights with him. It's this comic was so good.
Right, like you can actually see the character development and how they change. Like she even changes how she talks a little bit. Like she curses a lot more, and like she's pretty agile when she fights. Like I was very nervous during that fight sequence because the panel where Supergirl's sitting on the beach and there's like blood on like the sword and everything. Like, don't tell me like she just lost some limbs or something. Like, please.
Oh yeah, that's the cover of issue 8.
Was very nervous.
Mm-hmm.
But like that whole fighting sequence was very nice. I'm like, she's really changed. She's grown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the way she showed restraint and did not kill him. I thought at first when I first read it, I was like, that's stupid. Why didn't she just kill him? But then the more and more I thought about it, the more and more I'm like, yeah, no, he deserved to be locked in the Phantom Zone for like 200 years.
Exactly.
And then killed.
Yeah.
Which there's we'll get there. Before we get talk about the very end, I want to talk about Comet. So Ruthie, of course, ultimately wins the fight and goes to kill Krim, but just can't go through with it. And as that happens, we get that image I mentioned of an injured Supergirl coming down from the sky. But I didn't mention that she's holding a dead man. Here it's revealed that Comet, the super horse, was a man that was turned into a horse. Classic comic book goofiness. And that he died saving Kara. And we never heard that man speak a word. So sad.
Right.
Such a beautiful man, too.
Right.
And
the thing is, I sent that first panel because I was like, she's really having a conversation with this horse, and it's like understanding her. Like, how is that possible? And as we go on, I'm like, oh, I see.
Yeah, but they be talking to
it's because he's a man.
Right.
But yeah, and in that moment, Kara almost gives in to her own hatred and kills Krim after admitting to Ruthie that Crypto was never in danger, and that she actually went on this journey to teach Ruthie that killing is wrong. But Ruthie stops her and tells her that she learned her lesson and that Kara shouldn't give in to her anger either. And, as we were talking about, at the very end, we meet with an old Ruthie back on her home planet, where she reunites with Supergirl, who releases Krim from his 200-year imprisonment in the Phantom Zone. And Ruthie also, very old. Whether or not it's been 200 years for her as well, I don't know. Time works differently in space. Supergirl, we of course know, would be able to live that long and still look like she's 25. But we don't really know what the lifespan of Ruthie's people are. So maybe both her and Krim were actually alive for 200 years.
That would be
Right.
crazy.
But yeah, we also discovered that the narration we were hearing throughout the entirety of the book was from Ruthie's book that she wrote about her journey with Supergirl, except that she lies and claims that Supergirl killed Krim at the end. Which, it does look like Krim dies at the end, but I don't think he did, because that would go against the entirety of the moral message of the story.
Look it up.
It's very clear that he's not dead, but it does look like he died, and it's really funny. I like, though, at the end, it's like, okay, he went through imprisonment. He went through the system that, you would hope it, would exist in real life, but doesn't. At least not the way it should.
Right.
And he, suffered for his sins, and she didn't forgive him. She slapped that man in the face with her cane and walked away. And now he's
so glad she didn't
just
forgive him.
gonna, live the last few probably short days he has left
Right.
on his home planet. But yeah, what did you guys think of this final issue specifically?
I really like that it came full circle in the way of this is a story being told to us, and the implications that this is a published story. I think were really, really fun. Within the universe as well as being published to us was really, really fun. I like when stories tie in kind of the meta implications of its existence into its actual narrative. I think that's really, really cool. And I'm glad that Ruthie did not die like I was suspecting. She was just really old. I'm glad. Because listen, it was getting bleak. It was getting bleak for a second. I was like, I don't know about this.
But I also think it ended pretty well. In a way, we were all Ruthie.
Mm-hmm.
We were journeying through Ruthie.
For
Because
sure.
the way how she was very adamant about wanting to kill Krim, and how I was also very adamant about wanting to kill Krim, and I'm just like, please to stab him on that tree. And then she set him free so they could fight. And I was like, oh my god, she's gonna die, or she's gonna be gravely injured in some way. But she, she fought back and everything, and then Supergirl comes and lands and wants to kill Krim for killing Comet. Well, he didn't kill Comet, but
The comic died because of
but
him.
wants to take yeah, basically. She wanted to seek revenge, and I thought it was actually gonna happen, and Ruthie's like, please don't do it. I've learned, it may not seem like it, and I thought I could do it, but I actually genuinely learned, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. Don't kill that man. I was so adamant, she should have just struck that man down on the beach, but I was like, is that enough? Because that'd be too quick. He didn't suffer for anything, and he's just sitting there yeah, I have no regrets and blah blah blah. I'm like, I want him to regret it. How would they make
Right.
that happen?
Yeah, and
And
then
then
in
they
the
sent him
end,
to the Phantom Zone.
he
I'm like,
regretted
that
it.
is a justified way. I thought they did kill him at the end, though. I was like, dang, all that just just for her to walk him over the head and he dies. Just, oh, please forgive me. Just no, murders and walks away. I was like, oh, and she just let that happen.
Yeah.
I mean, she
So I
won't
had to
kill.
go and double check.
She
I
won't
was
kill
like, is it
people, but she
Deadpool
won't stop
or?
people. We
Yeah, so
established
that's what
that.
I really like about her too. That's what made me she's one of my favorites now. After that, she just walked away, didn't hold her back, didn't say anything. I was like, yeah, she knows what's up.
Mm-hmm.
See, maybe you should
My kind of hero.
start reading the current Supergirl comic that's out right now.
Should I? What is that one called?
Supergirl.
Just Supergirl. Okay.
Just Supergirl.
I'll look into it.
But yeah, what are your thoughts overall? Just this book as a whole, I should start.
really
I've read this
enjoyed it.
book around when it came out, but I'm reading it issue by issue, so it has all of the ads. I mentioned that before. It has the ads for various different comics that were coming out around the same time. So I'm reading it and looking at all these ads, damn, this was a while ago. I remember when these comics that they're talking about in this book came out, and I read those. And I'm like, this was years ago. This was like early pandemic. Like, this was crazy. This is a very long. It's 2025, guys. The pandemic was 5 fucking years ago. It started 5 years ago.
Whoa.
It was March of 2020.
Oh yeah, because
That is
lockdown
crazy.
started happening on my birthday.
Like,
Damn.
Man, time is slipping away from
I'm
me.
turning 25 in like 2 weeks.
Oh shit.
Time is flying, okay? The
really
thing is,
is.
being born in the year 2000, every year that passed, you know that you're getting a year older. You're like, oh, it's 2027. Oh no, I'm almost 30. Like, that's what it's gonna be like.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, this book is awesome. I remember reading it, loving it, and rereading
I
it
recommend
again.
this to other people.
Yeah, it's just
Mhm.
reaffirming my love for this book. And this book is really
Actually, I
the book
want a
that
solid copy.
made me love Supergirl. If you're gonna get definitely the hardcover. I don't
Yeah.
know if you've seen, like, I'll just take a screenshot of it right now, actually, because the image I use for the podcast is of like that the hardcover,
hardcover?
which is black with
Mm.
Supergirl standing there, and it's really cool.
Ooh.
And I was thinking of getting the hardcover a while back, but I decided not to. But if you want to get that, definitely cop that. It's dope.
I
Also-
will. I definitely will.
Speaking of comics and advertisements, in I think I want to say chapter 8, it might have been chapter 7, there was an ad for a Wonder Woman comic that kind of piqued my interest. So I might read that on my own time.
Was it? Yeah, I could not suggest reading Nubia more. Nubia is awesome. Nubia was quite literally DC's first not DC's, the first black woman superhero, period.
Oh shit.
Initially, she was basically just Black Wonder Woman, and she quite literally was Wonder Woman at one point. But she's a character that kind of like was just lost to time for a very long time. But a few years back, they like did a really big push with her that unfortunately slowed down to the point to where she was in Multiverses, the WB fighting game that had like Looney Tunes and DC characters and like a bunch of different, WB property characters in it. She was in that game as a fighter. She wasn't just like a skin for Wonder Woman who was in that game also. She was her own separate character. That's how hard they were pushing her back then. And this was like, that ad was from like the beginning of that.
Oh wow.
But yeah, I'll throw some of those comics in like the folder I made for you in our DC Universe account. Because there are several comics. There's like, was it Nubia and the Amazons, Nubia Queen of the Amazons. I guess that title's a bit of a spoiler, but and there was like the one that you saw was Amazon's Attack. So like, yeah, I'll definitely send those comics are cool. Nubia's great, but yeah, great comic. But to wrap things up, we got to talk about the writer. I've talked to you about this writer before, Aiara. I was specifically saving this for the very end. We got to talk about Tom King, the writer behind this story, and the controversy surrounding him. I'm sorry, Bree. There's controversy.
Controversy.
For me, it all started with Wonder Woman by Tom King. Either last year or the year before that, Tom King began writing. He became the main writer on the main Wonder Woman comic. And I really enjoyed his run when I first started reading it. And it was getting a lot of hate, and I didn't understand why. Because I was liking it a lot. But then I read this essay by Robert Jones Jr. on Substack titled "Who's Afraid of Wonder Woman?" And I discovered this because he reposted it on Reddit. And I was in the Wonder Woman subreddit kind of trying to figure out, like, why don't people like this book? And after reading it, it's a very long read if you decide to check it out. I began to understand and notice the problems when I went back to continue reading Tom King's Wonder Woman after reading that essay. And eventually, after I finished up his first arc on Wonder Woman, I dropped it completely as a result. So I'm going to sum up my findings, which I chronicled in an essay that I posted in the Wonder Woman subreddit, because yes, I'm a Redditor. So the first kind of like bullet point in that was that Tom King does not know how to write sororal relationships. To quote Robert, when King writes Wonder Woman's relationships with other women, whether these women are Wonder Woman's friends or her foes, there's always an air of competition or there's outright hostility. But there's never any regular ass homegirlness. This guy's black, if you couldn't tell. None at all. Almost every interaction Wonder Woman has with another woman is confrontational in this book. Again, I'm not gonna go deep into it. I've read literally an essay about it. And I talked about it in previous episodes. So again, I'm just gonna give pretty much bullet points. The next one is Tom King's brand of patriotism doesn't belong in a Wonder Woman book. Essentially, Tom King was trying to make Wonder Woman DC's Captain America, but that's just not who she is, or at least not anymore. Like a lot of iconic and older superheroes, Wonder Woman was created during World War II. So she did start off very patriotic. She literally wears red, white, and blue. But she hasn't been that for a very long time and should not return to that. And he has been trying real hard to return her to that. I talked about it before. The crossover they decided to do in the DC Marvel crossover wasn't Wonder Woman and Storm like everybody wanted. It was Wonder Woman and Captain America. Granted, that's also a good story, and it was a good story, but it's them continuing to push that agenda of trying to make her DC's Wonder Woman, which nobody wants that. Or the people who want that are not the type of people you want to be friends with.
Want to appeal to, yeah.
And lastly, King introduced the daughter of Wonder Woman, Trinity, and nobody likes her. Not because people are mad at the idea of Wonder Woman having a child. Literally, Batman and Superman both have children. It makes sense that eventually Wonder Woman would probably have a child in the comics. But everything surrounding this kid is weird. I'm one of the people who is not a fan of her. Not because I don't think that Wonder Woman should have a kid, but because the conception was strange. Trinity was basically made to fill the Steve Trevor sized hole in Diana's heart after he died in this run. Roberts once again puts it best. It's as though Wonder Woman is saying to her, "You're only here because your father wanted you here. I only love you because I loved your father. You were created to ease the pain of my missing him. You're only here so that when I look at your face, I see his face. This is a terrible reason to have a baby, an awful burden to place upon a child, and an enormously irresponsible thing for a parent to do." That was Robert's word, the person who wrote that essay that I read that changed my opinion. And yeah, essentially it's a book that feels like it is very purposefully trying to, for lack of a better term, brainwash people into being like more patriotic. There's a bunch of subtle and not so subtle sexism throughout the entire book that it's not even that I wasn't noticing. It's just that I was looking at it going like, it wasn't like, it was subtle. It wasn't like super big and overt. And I was like, okay, weird writing, but not necessarily sexist. But then as I continued reading, I was like, oh no, it just got more and more overt as I kept reading. And especially now that my eyes were open, now that I was woke, I started noticing it more and more. And I was like, oh, this book is weird. And this kind of like I said, subtle brainwashing could come from the fact that, and this is the big thing, and the reason why so many people actively hate Tom King used to work for the CIA. Specifically during the War on Terror, and therefore was likely complicit in some heinous acts committed by the US government in the Middle East. And he has been getting a lot of well-deserved hate for it. Now, I've said this before.
This is crazy.
Yeah, this deep lore. Personally, I'm not a fan of retroactively deciding a piece of art is bad just because the person who made it is a bad person. I'm all for deciding to stop supporting certain people's work because you dislike them as a person and encouraging other people to do the same thing for that reason. I do it all the time. But I don't like pretending that a person's art of which you may have previously liked is all of a sudden bad because they're bad. Now, sometimes, kind of this situation, after you discover a person is bad and the rose-tinted glasses are removed, you can see the hints of that in a person's work. And that may well be the case for some of Tom King's work. But it hasn't necessarily been that way for me outside of Wonder Woman. I've read several of his other comics and enjoyed them a lot. And look back on them and they're not really like crazy in the way that Wonder Woman is. I don't like attaching morality to talent because it then applies that untalented people are inherently bad and that talented people are good, which we know is not the case. The best example, because it's as close to an objective example as we can get, is R. Kelly. He's a piece of shit, and I don't listen to his music because of that. But you can't deny that he can sing his ass off. But his talent doesn't change the fact that he's a horrible person.
Awful person, yeah.
But also being untalented doesn't make you a bad person. But yeah, I felt like it would be remiss of me not to mention this, but I wanted to save it till the very end. Also, King has seemingly become James Gunn's point guy when it comes to having comic creatives help bridge the gap between comics, film, and animation, much to the chagrin of many comic book fans. And like I said, understandably so. And, I want to make it clear. I'm not defending King, if you got that impression based off of what I just said. That's not the case at all. I get the hate and agree with a lot of it. This man is partly responsible for what we think he is. He's a horrible person. And I have no respect for him. So, like, do with that information what you will. I am but a messenger. Do your own research, by the way, as well. Like, don't just take my word for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Supergirl War of Tomorrow. Despite it all. Good book. I say all that to say, he's horrible. This book's still good. It's a good book. I like this book. And next on the docket is Absolute Batman. Which
so excited.
The current arc that they're on is about to wrap up soon too. So like, yeah, this is gonna be awesome. Because I guarantee you, after we read those first 6 issues, you guys are gonna continue reading it and get caught up, and it's gonna be great.